Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Well, that always gets my head bopping up and down, so that gets me going. But opinions expressed on this show are approved by me, even though it's not by. They don't say they don't approve. They just don't want to take responsibility. I can't, responsibility is quite a word these days. I was just watching the sentencing. Anyway, that's enough for responsibility for today. No, we're going to be very responsible about ourselves and our retirement. And welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490, where we contemplate that said retirement and how to best prepare for retirement and how to best stay successfully retired. And for that, Dr. Phau will be with us on the half hour. And I don't know if you remember him from last time, but he is usually considered one of the top 2 to 3, if not the top 1th scholar on retirement finance. So absolutely meet your requirement needs. Top off your tank to make it all the way wherever you're going, Las Vegas or whatever. Which reminds me, I was on Ron Siegel's show yesterday, and it was really good. I thought it's always good when I'm on his show, but he reminded me, he gives away these trips to Las Vegas, so it made me reminded me of that. To do the same. So said he was giving away a free trip to Las Vegas. I had to stop and ask him, is that one of those trips where you have to go for an hour and listen to the spiel and get driven around for a timeshare? And he laughed and said, no. So remember, the future is now. Knowledge is power, but it's only the knowledge that we actually use. So give me a call, 866-955-2233, 866-955-2233. It's the kind of number that an old person can remember, even me most of the time. All right, and take a look at the website. The easiest, remember, you're on the, you're watching, hopefully you're watching, a lot of people are, the Educated Retirement Radio, and that's the website, and also Dr. Heckham, which means I am the guru or doctor of home equity conversion mortgage. So drheckham.com, just the way it shows there, or theeducatedretirement.com, or you can always email me, bestloantoday@gmail.com. And when you're at the website, be sure to take a look at the, there's some bluish pictures, blue tinted pictures that go by, and it's got some really good things in there. And also about halfway down, you will be able to have a link to watch this show on, when it's live, and to watch everybody else's show for the last month or so. That link will takes you to the KMET link for watching live. So, and then there is the YouTube, which is down there, and just about caught up on that. I will be within the next month. I don't like to catch, I was gone, I was in the hospital, I don't want to get into that, but I was gone for a while, and when you catch up on YouTube, everybody who's a subscriber gets everything as you put it up there, and I don't want people to get 10 different videos at one day. So my day, speaking of day, I do have a day job, and it's at a place called the Loan Source. And my NMLS, which is the National Mortgage Lending System, number is 384565. And my Department of Real Estate, although I don't do any real estate, but I stay on top of the situation. I can get you connected with whoever you may be interested in what area you are, just for interest. You don't have to be buying something to talk to a realtor. You don't have to be getting a new loan or even wanting a new loan to get information about a loan. Therefore, call me. Anyway, my Department of Real Estate number is 792-630. And another shout out to Daryl McCants, who does recognize this show on each of his shows, the Southern California Business Report, that he shares with Yvette Walker, both of which have been on my show several times. And he puts me on his advisory team, along with Bill Morris, who I need to get a hold of Bill. Come back on my show. He hasn't been on since the first of the year. Anyway, the California Business Report is on at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. Now, you know we always do a celebration of what today is. And today is Friday. Oh, no. What we're going to do is, because we had a little problem last week, we're going to share some of the things we were going to do last week. This week, we've got plenty of time. And the week before that, I believe I told you that NASA Nellie was out replacing a communications gizmo that the HAL 9000 had recommended was going to go bad. So she is here now, and I'm listening for her retro rockets. There they are. Thank you again, Danny Jr. and Sr., for the retro rockets. And she's going to talk to us about the Murray Island incident, and then she's going to catch up with what she didn't do last week a little bit later. But we'll spread out NASA Nellie, because she's got to get back to outer space, and we're here in inner space. So take it away, NASA Nellie.
Maury Island is an island in Puget Sound in the state of Washington. In June of 1947, before the infamous UFO crash in Roswell, there was a particular explosion reported by a man on his boat. During an interview, Harold Dahl, a harbor patrolman, said, "On June 21, 1947, I was patrolling the east of Maury Island, and as captain, I was steering my patrol boat close to the shore of a bay on the island. On board were 2 crewmen, my 15-year-old son, and his dog. As I looked up from the wheel on my boat, I noticed 6 very large donut-shaped aircraft. Dahl claimed that one of the objects began spewing forth what seemed like thousands of newspapers from the center. These newspapers, which turned out to be a type of lightweight metal, fluttering to earth. He reported that the substance resembled lava rocks tumbled onto their boat, breaking a worker's arm and killing the dog. He was able to take some pictures.
I think it was his son's arm, was it not?
Pretty
sure.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. Because they were just out fishing, it's just, but, it doesn't get in. Do you know what kind of fish they got?
No.
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
Could be catfish, I'm not sure.
Oh, now you're talking. That's good.
He was able to take some pictures of the aircraft with his camera, which he later showed his supervisor, Fred Chrisman. Fred went back to the scene to look for himself and claimed he saw a strange aircraft with his own eyes. The following morning, Dahl was visited by a man in a black suit who said, "What I have to say is proof to you that I know a great deal more about this experience of yours than you will want to believe." Dahl was told not to speak of the incident, and if he did, bad things would happen.
I'm just showing a picture of Men in Black, and this is a real picture.
Yeah. The report states that Dahl and Crimson reached to a Chicago magazine in an attempt to tell their story, and the magazine editor then contacted reputable pilot Kenneth Arnold, hoping to verify the account. Arnold then summoned 2 Army officers to aid in the investigation. The officers were able to collect a box of fragments and conducted interviews at the scene and left on their plane the next day. The plane caught fire and crashed, killing the 2 officers. The Tacoma Times reported that the plane might have been sabotaged or shot down to prevent inspection of its cargo. Here's a note. It was just a few days after the sighting at Murray Island when Arnold himself reported seeing the legendary group of objects near Mount Rainier, describing them as saucer-like, thus this term of flying saucers making national headlines. Later, as the FBI investigated the case, they concluded that both Dahl and his boss, Chrisman, fabricated the entire story. Dahl said that if questioned by the authorities, he was going to say it was a hoax because he did not want any further trouble over the matter. Over the years, the incident has been the subject of documentaries, investigations by UFO researchers, books, and magazines. Like several widely known sightings, you have your witnesses on the scene, you have your men in black warnings, and sometimes you have unexplained causes of death of other people involved. And to help blur the facts, officials halted any further investigation and continued to label this case as a hoax. In conclusion, the event launched what is known as the Summer of Saucers. Ironically, in 2017, the Washington State Senate passed a resolution to formally acknowledge the 70th anniversary of the event and its prominence in the modern era of UFO popular culture, and to recognize and honor the Army Air Corps officers that perished in the plane crash.
Well, thank you, Nassanelli. Before you take off, can you, what is exactly what, I see it's
Some
Department,
documentation.
I see it's from the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
And it has flying discs cited by, and it
That's
says
the
Tacoma,
report.
Washington.
That's
so
a report, and that's what they do. They black out.
Well, yeah,
things, you know.
but I'm surprised there's so much that's still there.
Yep.
Okay, now I did tell you we would keep some of last week's items that we didn't get to, and because I just have to. Last week was Ugliest Dog Day. Celebrates the pups out there with a face only a mother could love, like me. But when it comes to man's best friend, is there really a dog that can be considered adorable no matter how they look? The antics of animals will always be cute. And I got a few pictures I'll show you here in a second, which is the main reason we need to redo this. The World's Ugliest Dog Contest is an annual contest held in Petaluma as part of the Sonoma Marin Fair. Nice area, by the way. Past winners include Scamp the Tramp, Zaza, Quasimodo, Peanut, and Mugly. Let me show you a picture of some of these. I don't know which is which, but I guess I could have looked that up, but I was so taken by the pictures that I didn't think anything else would be needed. This is only a face a mother would love, or an owner of this pet would love. Look at those teeth and eyes. Oh, this one goes like this. That's not so bad. You know, if he did like me and shaved off my beard, I'd probably look better too. But this is just checking. Looks like this dog is fairly hairless except for those whiskers. And this, of course, is adorable. Right? And I hear a siren. I don't know whether they're coming after me or this dog. And one or two more for you.
That's the same as
Look at that. That dog has got its tongue out and just very, very, very excited. These are all, I'm sure, winners.
Yeah.
And so no matter how unphotogenic your dog is, celebrate that mutt's mug and strut him or her around and be proud today and every day. Every day that you have a dog, I think, is something to be proud of. National Food Truck Day. Now, for me, I don't know, you people are all old enough to remember when we used to call them roach coaches. And what a difference roach coaches have transformed into. Now they have their own show on the Food Channel with contests. And you know what? Going to a food truck is not necessarily any less expensive, in many cases more expensive than going to a restaurant. But then again, a lot of the food is also really, really good. So today is the day to celebrate delicious food on wheels. In the United States, the Texas Chuck Wagon was a precursor to the American food truck. So in 1866, a Texas cattle rancher fitted an old, sturdy United States Army wagon with interior shelving and drawers with kitchenware, food, and medical supplies to treat the people he fed. Lots of food poisoning then. The food consisted of dried beans, coffee, cornmeal, greasy cloth wrapped bacon, and beef. It was also stocked with a water barrel and wood to heat and cook the food. There's a picture of what that coulda, shoulda looked like. Isn't that grease-wrapped bacon and meat making you hungry right now? And here's a little bit later model, also horse-drawn, but hot waffles. Let's see. 4 for 5 cents, in case you can't see it. So if you're hungry and you got a nickel, find that truck. Later in 1872, Walter Scott cut windows in a small covered wagon and parked it in front of a newspaper office in Providence, Rhode Island, and sold sandwiches, pies, and coffee to pressmen and journalists. By the 1880s, former lunch counter boy Thomas Buckley was manufacturing lunch wagons in Massachusetts and introduced various types such as the Owl, the White House Cafe with sinks, stoves, and refrigerators. Food trucks are now commonplace, and I said they, took the place of roach coaches in American big cities and suburbs across the country. They are being hired for special events, weddings, movie shoots, and corporate gatherings. So, they kind of took the place of a lot of, quote, catering for a lot of events. So gourmet food trucks offer a unique dining experience. One truck may specialize in outlandish burgers, and another may serve only lobster rolls. There are food truck rallies, food truck parks, and in many ways they can launch off a chef's career without the need for brick and mortar locations, and some have participated in competitions. So we're getting near the half hour here where we're going to be introducing Wade Phau. I just want to let you know that coming up when we come back after Dr. Phau, it will be National Catfish Day, and that's just wanted to get you ready or hungry, whichever it is. So we're going to be talking about catfish, especially the gooch. We're also going to be talking about Have Gun Will Travel and its relationship with Mitchum. And I can't do anything but show this. God, I wish I could find it on vinyl. Robert Mitchum Calypso is like so. There it is. There's one of those cool backs. Anyway, get to that. In the meantime, let's get you to Sean so we can take a quick break and come back with Dr. Wade Phau. Thanks so much. Well, welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET, where we contemplate retirement, how to best achieve retirement, and how to best stay successfully retired. And I did say earlier in the show that we were lucky enough to have Dr. Wade Phau back with us to talk about some of that. And, just to try to get through this so there's more time for him, he is the director of the Retirement Income Certified Professional Designation and a professor of retirement income at the American College of Financial Services. And he is also a principal and a director for McLean Asset Management. So he holds a doctorate in economics from Princeton University and publishes frequently in a wide variety of academic and, journals. And, now that people are finding it more and more difficult to figure out how to plan for retirement, I don't mean just because they run out of money early or they're eating dog food, as we like to say in the reverse mortgage industry. When people go after people who are really having a hard time, I don't like doing that. It's great to be able to save people who are having a hard time, but that's not really what it's for. But anyway, they need to be able to put together a real strategy, and Dr. Phau is one of those people that can do that through the Retirement Researcher company that exists to help guide you along the path to a successful and sustainable retirement. You should use that by providing modern, sound academic research. So what we're going to do is we're going to be able to have Dr. Phau tell you all about those things as we get in there. And right now on the screen, we've got 3 books that Dr. Phau has written. And I believe you got something else coming out too. And I'll wait until those get off the screen so your picture is back. And then we will ask you to introduce yourself. There you come. So let's ask you now because I like seeing the people when they're talking, to go ahead and introduce yourself as best you, over and above what I just yapped out there. So go ahead and tell us about you and what you do in the world.
Well, thanks, Jay, and it's good to talk to you again. And indeed, I do wear a few hats. You hit a lot of those quite well already. I'm a professor at the American College where I focus on retirement income planning. It's a unique job title in that regard. And then also with Retirement Researcher, that's my website, blog, doing a lot, just writing about retirement. I've written a few books. I'll have another book coming out in September. It's going to be called the Retirement Planning Guidebook. And it really tries to walk people through all the important decisions for retirement planning. We're looking forward to having that coming out. I've finished writing the draft. Actually, just today, I've ordered the proof copy so that I can go through and read it word by word to look for any mistakes or typos. But it's on the way. It's coming.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to that. I've got your other 3 books. I've gotten them several times. I give them away, then I get other ones. Then I get ones, on Kindle so that I can't give those away. And then, but have the others to give to both other financial planners and also to clients. Because you know more than they do, that's for sure. You know more than I do. And I try to help, but you know the language much better and you know the strategy. I think strategy is what's missing in so many people's desire to become retired, correct? Is that what you kind of find?
Yeah, and there's so many different decisions to walk through. And even the non-financial aspect is something I've really been focused on more with writing this most recent book.
Good.
Yeah, finding your purpose and passion, having good relationships with spouse, family, friends, just figuring out how to spend the unstructured hours of the day when you don't have 8 hours of work every day. How are you going to find a way to replace that? How
to finally get along with those people that you had to put up with all those years before. No, just joking. But, we talk a lot here on the show about, and especially with in-home caregivers and health industry, about keeping busy. Mm-hmm. I think keeping busy is very, very important. And yes, there are hobbies, and I've got 4 of them. Let me see. Of course, I collect records, so I can call music, but I'm still buying records every week now, it seems like, even though my, including fire and smoke, but one thing at a time. That's how to cope with and astronomy, model trains, and anyway, it is good to have hobbies. However, A lot of times it's good just to keep working or to find another job or another industry you want to get into. So you'll probably cover a lot of that also, and how,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Some people aren't made for retirement, so it's not so much a matter of necessarily working because you need the paycheck, but you may just really enjoy working, and you have the flexibility to find something where maybe it doesn't pay as much, or maybe even volunteer work, but that can still be important to
Right.
have that in your life.
Yeah, and staying busy I think, is so important on your health.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll live longer. I think two main things: living at home as long as you can, and there's can't, but living at home as long as you can and staying busy. Because I've got a couple of friends that retired years ago, and one seems happy doing nothing, which I can't do, and the other one kind of going nuts. So, so,
Yeah, and there
so
can
go
be a
ahead.
honeymoon period in retirement where maybe that first
Yeah,
3, 6 months, or even a year, you have a lot of things on your to-do list that you're getting done and feeling really accomplished. But at some point, yeah, that unstructured time, it can become a burden if people don't really have a plan for how to take advantage of that.
is for sure. I think in the time that I was growing up, most people had a financial, if they had a financial plan, let's say they either was in writing or it was in their mind or something. One thing that was missing, of course, was health care and retirement. I think the two of those things kind of go to, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Once somebody becomes eligible for Medicare, that's another important chapter in the book in terms of making all those decisions. And if you're still working, a lot of people fall into the mistake of they may not have work that qualifies as the primary, or the insurance through their work may not qualify as primary insurance once they become eligible for Medicare. There are some cases where you can keep the employer plan, but a lot of people may be mistaken and may not understand they do need to sign up for Medicare to have a primary payer once they reach age 65.
All I can say is thank God for Medicare with what happened this last year, but we're not getting into that. You know how old folks like to talk about medical problems? So I can be different, but I'm not going to, okay? Now, we've had the pictures of your books up screen, and I want you to tell everybody how to get any of that. Go ahead and give us a brief summary of those. I recommend you get all, but it's like you need all three to make a whole picture. It's like pieces in a puzzle. But give us a quick summary of those three books.
Sure. Yeah, the 3 books that are available now, they're all available from your favorite book retailers. The first one I wrote was about reverse mortgages. It was a shorter book focused on a very specific topic, but it was good to get that experience with book writing. So Reverse Mortgages second edition just walks you through how to think about retirement income and then decisions with housing and retirement, aging in place, how to prepare your home for aging, and factors to think about with where you'd like to live. And then once you're in the home, you do anticipate staying and talking about whether a reverse mortgage can really help with your financial plan or not.
Then I think so many people need to learn more about a reverse mortgage instead of just being afraid of it, because that's wrong. And reading your book really helps, and I'll get out of the way again.
Yeah, thanks. And so then I wrote the book, How Much Can You Spend in Retirement, which is, well, for the next 2 books, I do talk about how there's different retirement income styles. Like, how do you prefer to source your retirement income? Some people are comfortable relying on the stock market and the growth from the stock market to fund retirement. Other people are not as comfortable with that and prefer more contractually protected income. So the other 2 books focus on these 2 different perspectives. How much can I spend in retirement is for people who are more comfortable in that investment world, and how to think about spending down from an investment portfolio to sustain their lifetime retirement spending. And the third book, Safety First Retirement Planning, is looking more at the world of annuities and insurance and thinking about, you may still have a role for the stock market, but you don't want to be completely dependent on that. So how to think about building a floor of lifetime income with reliable, protected resources. And I explain how different types of annuities work because there's so many options out there.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that is confusing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it definitely can be confusing because they've developed new annuities to try to appeal more to the preferences of people, but that can lead to a lot of bells and whistles. And I do the best I can to explain how that all works and how to choose from different types of annuities.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you put that chapter in your that I like taking records every month and week. So that but anyway, go ahead with you.
Yeah, those are the three books, the reverse mortgages.
And the new one is more or less
Yeah.
on a wider picture of retirement, which I think is, yeah, very, very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
And when do you think that's...
Retirement planning guidebook. Yeah,
And that's...
September 7th.
When's that coming out?
It'll be out September 7th. And yeah, try to cover all the important aspects. So these same issues I mentioned in the other books, but also long-term care planning, how to claim Social Security, how to make Medicare decisions, estate planning, tax planning for retirement, how to spend down from different accounts and so forth. I really try to cover all the important aspects and give action plans for everything related to having a successful retirement.
Yeah, because you want to enjoy yourself when you retire. You don't have to want to worry about, how you're going to make your house or your rent payment. Or, too bad I can't take this vacation this year. You want to have all that kind of planned out to the best you can be. How well you plan things out, there are going to be surprises, or the old black swan, as they call it. And you need to be prepared for that. And when that happens, if you have good strategy, you're there.
That's right.
I want you to talk about the weekly roundups and all of that good stuff with the company. But we'll get back to you telling all your contact information. Right now, let's get into all of your contact information, and then we'll be here also. So how can people get a hold of you, and how can they buy your books? Now, I bought my books through Amazon. I don't know if they can buy them through you directly, or whether just the bookstore or whatever you recommend. But how do people get a hold of you for you and for retirement researcher?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, on the book side, Amazon is a popular option. I've kind of become more sensitive to not just say Amazon all the time, because there's a lot of good independent bookstores out there that don't necessarily.
I know, and I love
your favorite
going
book
through
retailers.
those. Yeah, in fact, later in the show here, we're going to talk about, Guillermo del Toro and the strain comes into our conversation. And this is one I found at a real life bookstore. It's a first edition that's actually signed by the two authors. So I thought I'd just throw that in because it is a lot of fun going through bookstores. And I also like to see things and touch them and, or do whatever, feel a part of them when you buy them. To me, that's fun. Some people don't like it at all, but I love it that way. But anyway, go back to your contact information.
And then, right, my website, it's all one word. It's retirementresearcher.com. And if you visit the webpage, a screen will pop up asking if you'd like to join that weekly email list. Every Saturday morning, we send out an email with a few links to different articles on retirement topics and investing topics. And so you can have that option if you'd like to sign up and get those weekly emails.
And that does not cost anything at all, correct?
That's correct.
It's just if you don't do it, it's going to cost you knowledge that's so important. So it's a do it.
Thank you.
And so let's talk a little bit while we still got a little bit of time. These half hours go by so fast, and that's why it's good for you to come back. So I'll put you down for once a week from now on. No. a little bit about the retirement researcher and the boot camps they have up, the roundups, and what you have to offer for people who actually go beyond the weekly newsletter. That newsletter was being a member of the group is not exactly the same, but you get so much more, correct?
Well, the newsletter will keep you informed about everything because, yeah, we do a lot of webinars. We bring in different book authors to present their information. We do have the Retirement Researcher Academy, which is a membership site. So that's a little bit different. You can learn about it with the newsletter. And that, yes, we do monthly workshops. That was just this week. We did the workshop on the non-financial aspects of retirement. I've done workshops on social, all these issues we mentioned with that new book coming up, the Retirement Planning Guidebook, the long-term care, Social Security, Medicare, estate planning, tax planning, and then how to put it all together as well, and budgeting for retirement, thinking about annuities, thinking about investments, anything, well, reverse mortgages, anything related to retirement income.
And they can find that on the website that you just put out there, and people can decide for themselves if they want to go into all of that. And I know that from your past webinars, you've talked about how to review your estate, how to do a holistic overview. Make sure that your budget and goals are appropriate. You've heard me joke about how my budget is not at all appropriate, and I am joking a little bit about that, but I think people really need to be serious about all that. And of course, one thing that you brought up before, to me, the hardest single item, that's how to implement your decisions. Once you learn what's the best thing to do, is actually doing it.
Yeah, and so something else to think about there is just, we've developed this retirement income style awareness that also helps you figure out what kind of retirement style works best for you, but also to think about whether you might want to work with a financial advisor. So are you somebody who's self-directed and comfortable doing things on your own? Do you just want someone to validate? Like you may mostly want to do it on your own, but you'd like someone to double check your work every once in a while? Or would you like to have more of a more complete relationship where a financial advisor is part of that discussion and planning as well?
No, that's important. And do you find most of the people or people that join up, are they financial planners? They should be, because they should be learning more. And everybody should be sharing information. But are they, what type of, you just mentioned a few different types of people. What do you think, which of those types are the most prevalent for members?
Well, yeah, so the retirement researcher community, it's probably about a third advisors and two-thirds everyday people. But yeah, for the everyday people who sign up, definitely the most popular category would be the self-directed investor, because they're really, if you're listening to shows like this, you probably are at least either more self-directed or more of a collaborator, where you do have an interest in retirement planning, personal finance. So I'm
going to start putting collaborator on cards and an introduction to this show. I like that very, very much. So thank you very much.
Yeah, now, collaborators work together with their advisor, and delegators are those who just want the advisor to do everything. And then validators just maybe don't need a full-time advisor, but maybe once in a while. And then the self-directed investor likes to do things on their own.
So many people just don't know what's available to them, and they never had that great opportunity. They just did their work in their job, and they were part of the company's 401 or their boss's 401k or whatever. And now you're let loose, paroled into the world of retirement. Now you got to make your own decisions. So some of those are, whether do you want to roll I used to roll really well downhill when I weighed 265, but now that I'm only 152, I don't roll very well. But you know, there's a lot of talk about rollovers to different kinds of IRAs or Roth even, which I think is going to cost some money to do. But you know, you really need to talk to somebody to decide how much money you have, what your needs are, and things like that before actually making some of those decisions, wouldn't you say?
Right, right. There's pros and cons. I mean, a lot of people when they retire will do a rollover, but there may be some cases where it's better to leave the money in the 401k plan. You really have to look case by case. And yeah, that Roth, so doing a Roth conversion and paying taxes, that's part of the big tax planning picture of looking for opportunities. I mean, we all unfortunately have to pay taxes, but the strategy.
Yeah, I found that to
Go ahead.
because it found out that that's true. To pay taxes.
but yeah, to be the tax planning is to try to pay taxes when you're in a lower tax bracket, and especially before somebody starts Social Security, there can be a lot of opportunities to do things like Roth conversions and pay taxes at a lower rate than you would later on when you are collecting Social Security.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things to do with that. There's a minimum amount you have to take out after you're 72 and a half or something, which
72.
There's talk of that being lowered, but you have to take it out and pay taxes anyway. Maybe that's a good time to do a Roth. But see, I don't know enough about it to actually give anybody any information about that. I'm just thinking out loud.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so what we're talking about right now, it'll all be in chapter 10 of that retirement planning guidebook that's coming in the fall.
Okay, well, I'm
Really
looking forward to it.
Yeah, I look at an example where somebody, just by being more efficient with their planning for taxes and for Social Security, they can make their money last another 6 years in the example. They would have run out at age 88 following more naive types of strategies, and it lasts till 94 in the example.
I've got a good friend, and I don't know why. I don't mean to be sticking my nose into your time on here, but since you're here, I'd like, you know, I've got things to share with you. But I've got, I did a loan for a guy in Beverly Hills. It was a jumbo, and you know, so he was able to take out a pretty large amount. And when you do, the rates are higher than the Heckams or the regular reverse. But he ended up paying 4.9%, but he's got some kind of this guy retired from the World Bank, so he's got some connections. He has a, whatever it is, some kind of an investment that has a guaranteed 6%. Now, if it goes through the roof, he doesn't get through the roof. He's limited as it goes up, and but he is limited to loss. So that's an arbitrage that's going to make, you know, if you look at a couple $1 million or so, that's going to make you pretty decent income. If that really exists, which I didn't know until he told me about. So there's so much we need to learn.
Yeah, I don't know anything right now that's guaranteeing 6%, but yeah, if you found something like that, that sounds great.
Okay, I'm looking for it. But see, we need somebody like you to keep us from jumping too fast also. And
there's some annuities that confuse people into thinking they have a guaranteed 6%, but that's not really how it works. They can have a roll-up rate where the benefit base will grow at 6%, but when that's not really how you think about like the income you're going to get from that. It's a different aspect of the annuity.
So look at everything you can learn just by being associated with Dr. Phau, and especially the company, because the company has Dr. Phau may be the #1 asset there, in my opinion he is, but there are other people over there with specialties that run into other things, right? At Retirement Researcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, investing in estate planning and areas, especially with the estate planning, all the different types of irrevocable trusts. That's not so much of my area personally, but it's more for estate planning lawyers. But it's really interesting.
Yeah, because we get into it in the land business, we get into a lot of revocable trusts. And we have it in mind we can't do an irrevocable trust, but we can. I've checked on it, and we can. We can incorporate when doing a reverse mortgage and things like that. So there's things for all of us to learn a little more. But other than that, I don't know anything about the irrevocable, nothing at all. And I do know and hear that, people are getting into healthcare trusts, which I don't understand at all, but that's one reason for taking out tax-free money on a reverse mortgage. So there's so much to get into, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely need somebody that knows what they're talking about. And I can aim people towards others that know specifically things that I don't know, that I only know about. So I think your household board of directors that we've talked about so many times include Dr. Wade Phau, at least with the emails, and really look into the retirement researcher and see what's available there. I mean, you don't have to make up your mind the first time, but see what's available. And if you sign up for the emails, you'll be getting notice on what is available like every week. And, so that's a nice way to wake up on Saturday morning, right? And so that's, to me, a must. And the other thing that is a must is to buy all 4 books. And if you're a financial planner or in the financial industry, you need to buy a bunch of them. And make sure you have one that you can keep. I had to put the one, because I'm so easy to give books away. I've got a Kindle version where they're available, and so you can give the others away. Some are good for clients. I think this last one you just talked about, that would be so good for someone in my position to give to clients, because it's not just saying, hey, do this reverse mortgage, do this. It goes over a much broader version of what's going to make you happy in retirement. And that's why we retire, right? I mean, we don't really think, now you're just a kid, so you don't realize that when you get ancient like me, 75, you don't feel like, maybe you do because little by little you've grown older, but you don't feel like you're an old man or you just don't. You break all the mirrors, or you throw mirrors in your house, and then you feel like you're still young. You want to be happy and continue doing what you're doing before, whether it's work or not work or whatever. So before we run out of time, which we are again, because we always do, but thank you so much. Before we do anything, let me just thank you so much. And I wish you a Father's Day, which we just had. And I wish you a great 4th of July, which we're about to have. But let's go ahead and give you a couple of minutes to give all your contact information, the name of your books, one more time.
Okay, well, yeah, thanks, Jay. It's always great talking to you and being on the show. And again, the website is retirementresearcher.com, all one word, and it's researcher, like the person, not just research. So retirementresearcher.com. And you can sign up for the email list there, learn about other opportunities and things with the Academy or different webinars and so forth. And then the books, favorite book retailer, written about reverse mortgages, about how much can I spend in retirement, which is on the investment side of retirement. And then Safety First Retirement Planning, which is more about using annuities and insurance in retirement. And in September, I'll have that 4th book, the Retirement Planning Guidebook, that's looking to be about 470 pages. And it goes through everything related to building a good retirement plan.
Wow, I am looking forward to that. I'm sure others are too. Highly anticipated. I saw on the emails you were talking about the next book or whatever, or somewhere, And I didn't realize just how widespread it was going to be, but it is going to be great, isn't it?
That's what I've been doing during the pandemic.
Well, yeah, it's a good time to have, you know what? And it kept you busy, you know, as if you were retired. But you know what, Dr. Phau, we have to go. And of course, I'm inviting you back for another one, but I really, really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure our listeners and viewers do too. So take care of yourself. A lot of people do, okay? All right. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Educated Retirement Show with Jay Kaplan. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. to learn more about your mortgage and reverse mortgages. And don't forget, each show is also podcasted on the KMET website.